as well as this.
What, you think we should just hold it to our mouths
Yeah, I think so.
for now? Yeah, probably is better.
Yeah.
We can do an A/B test.
At some point, yeah.
I mean, we should. Maybe the next one we record it just with here, and then if we just with it tied to our shirts, and if we need to,
Just see which one we prefer.
well, I mean, just see which audio comes out crisper from the get go. If this is too loud, then we edit that. Otherwise, if
It doesn't need to be.
oh right, otherwise if it's too loud, if it's too quiet the other way, then we just go back to this.
Yeah.
But
It's been a while since we did our last podcast. We've been pretty busy. And also it's been a long time since we've done a podcast in person. I think last time we did a podcast in person was with Jake in the studio.
yeah, it was.
Yeah. Which was a good podcast. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
About personal brand.
Yeah, it was a good one. No, it's been ages, and now we're in Denmark together at our grandma's place. I currently don't have a place to live. I just moved. I just moved apartments.
Currently homeless.
Currently homeless. No, but I moved out before summer of my old place, and I was without an apartment for maybe a month, and I just secured a place now. So I'm gonna move there in a couple weeks. And yeah, right now we're just in our kind of in Jylland, in our grandma's place.
Summer.
Yeah, summertime.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm currently at university. I just finished my first year, and I'm heading into my second year in September, which is exciting. So now I'm just summer. I've got summer. I'm working on the foundation stuff, and yeah, just chilling.
Yeah, I feel like a lot has happened since we last did the podcast.
Yeah,
I saw the last podcast we filmed was, I'm not sure if we're going to upload the last one or not, but it was in my housemate's room before I moved out because all my stuff was empty, so I didn't have a table, a desk, nothing. And I filmed it from her room. Yeah, and that was a quick podcast, I remember, because I had to leave, but it was, I don't even remember what it was about, but...
Neither. I mean, I think the last podcast I uploaded was 2 weeks ago. Because we did quite a lot of podcasts, and I remember scheduling them for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I forget what that one was about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we've had a bit of a change of wind with the podcasts. Because we always enjoyed it, and it was something that we began doing to practice speaking, communication, conversation, and so forth, just to get in a habit of being sort of attentive and aware of how we speak, and being able to watch back and assess and kind of refine the way you communicate and speak. That was a large reason, a large motivator. Another was we thought it'd be a fun way to kind of stay in touch and call, since we were working on a business but remotely. We thought podcast would be a nice way to kind of journal the progress, journal our journey a little bit, and sort of reflect on how things are going, but also stay in touch and kind of keep up. It's a nice thing I kind of look forward to each week. And what are some other reasons?
I mean, I feel like a nice investment for the future, because I feel like it would be a fun way to connect with other people that we knew as well.
Right.
Also, just guests that we currently don't know, but we would want to talk to and have an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool way to have a conversation with them and get them on the podcast and share with everyone else.
Yeah. Well, a chance to meet some like-minded people, a chance to network a little bit.
Exactly.
Interview some people who we're interested in conversing with. And
I mean, also just podcasting skills are pretty universal. The interviewing aspect of it is like really important.
Yeah, exactly.
And just the conversation.
Yeah, it just seemed like there's a lot of upside to it. But also just for personal branding as well. Yeah. So getting to reflect on that, getting sort of being able to put some intention behind that. Yeah, and also just a nice place to kind of sum up and recap everything we're doing. Yeah, I kind of like that idea.
I like it as well. I like us like a journaling session.
Yeah,
a combined journaling session, which is also a nice way to like stay in touch. Yeah, because we can talk about each other's lives and how it's going. And
it's almost behind the scenes pretty much.
Yeah, well. I mean that's the conversation we had. I guess the reflection, the review we had.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be more of document the process of everything we're doing, from fitness to business to work and everything. Yeah. Yeah, and make it, I guess, sort of like the guy that does the POV, how he like vlogs everything.
Dylan or something. Dallin. I can't remember his full name, but yeah. Yeah. Dylan, I think it's Dylan Dalen or something. Dutch guy.
Yeah. Yeah, because he like he documents everything and he does POVs of everything. And like I remember seeing a clip where he talks about how he talks to his camera as like a accountability and documentation thing, which is I thought was cool.
Because he kind of blew up because of his vlogs.
Yeah.
Which he then cuts into, he edits the footage into reels, which was also kind of blown up as well. But I think it blew up because it was so authentic and it was such a clean way of documenting the process.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I think I find really cool. I think also, because you said it's like a vlog, I feel like this could also be some form of vlog. It's like documentation, but also you just mentioned before we started uploading that, it was cool how we took the scenery because it's a part of where we're traveling to. And it would be cool if, like, for example, because we just went to Greece.
Yeah.
Like, if we did a podcast there, it would be a cool scenery there. We talk about where we were. We did that for everywhere we traveled to because we do like traveling and stuff like that.
I really like that idea. Yeah.
Make it basically a vlog, but just us sitting and talking about what we're doing.
Exactly.
Because then all the other clips and stuff comes from our personal brand and Instagram and everything.
Yeah. You mean that you would use the podcasts as in the vlog, you mean?
No, I would do the podcast in like the way we're doing now, like documenting, but I would do it like in different locations of where we're traveling. And then if people want to see where we're traveling and like the vlog aspects, they can look at our reels, for example.
So it ties nicely together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. And then it also makes use of the scenery and kind of yeah, it's a nice way for us to document our travels as well.
It's like documenting the process through audio and then documenting through visuals, like with reels and little snippets and days in the life and stuff like that.
Exactly. Because I really like I've never really been into vlogs or anything, and I haven't been following anyone's vlogs. And to be honest, a lot of my YouTube content isn't really entertainment per se.
Yeah. But
his vlogs are somewhat, they're informative through his own personal experiences because it's not like it's a to-do or the video is titled how to do X, Y, or Z or how I've just accomplished this or whatever. It's more he documents his trip to Japan or whatever, his trip to Shanghai.
Yeah.
And there was some business related thing in it. Maybe he documents his fitness routine while he was doing it. Some meeting he had, and he kind of has these kind of journaling sessions within, and that's why I really like about it. And I feel like that's what this can be in that sense, because before what we were doing, we wanted to be a bit too informative. I think we were trying to structure the podcast a bit too much, and it didn't really make sense because we would try to decide on what topic it should be about beforehand and something interesting that we wanted to make a whole podcast about, and it was sort of generic topics that we would like umbrella topics that we would throw in, and then we would try to divide those into subtopics that we can discuss, but it's too unorganic and it's hard to make that flow naturally.
Yeah, I feel like also this way it can make it a lot more effortless in the sense that, because we want it to be like a bit of a wind down session, the way every week we just hop on the pod, we don't think about it, we just like talk about basically our life, how we're enjoying it, or the lessons we learned this week.
And
I think that's the best way to do it, to make it a mix between informative, effortless, and document the process,
and authentic. And I agree completely, because I think before as well it was too forced, and even though we had some sort of structure we wanted to follow, it always ended up defaulting to this kind of conversation. And instead of resisting that and trying to make it this kind of structured, informative podcast where we plan different topics and all these things, we can just ditch that idea completely and just, like you said, talk about what we want to talk about, which is the process and what we've been up to and things that have happened this week. And then the only preparation you would really need to do is remember what happened this week and do your go through your own journal and see what lessons did I learn, maybe what did I read about, what did I look into, what rabbit holes did I go into, what do I find interesting, what do I think is worth discussing, maybe brainstorming even over the podcast. And then we can have sort of live conversations about those things. And then that's kind of similar to if we had a guest on as well. If we had a guest on, then we can have similar conversations about what the hell they've been up to. What's their process look like? What does their fitness routine look like? Things that we're curious in and that we end up talking about ourselves. But what does that look like for them? And
then we can like take inspiration from them, and that's where the insightfulness and the knowledge comes in.
Exactly. I think that's the best way to do it, and I feel that gets me kind of
excited
because it sounds fun, and it's what I want to do. It's what I want to do as well. But I like the idea, what you just said, of making it's a podcast, but then we take it with us while we travel, and we kind of leverage that travel side of things by making a sort of vlog as a reel, for instance. Maybe in the future those end up becoming full-on YouTube videos that we put on the same page as well. But I think for the time being, we discussed we would just make them short mini vlogs on Instagram, for example, as reels, because it's easier to edit. And right now we're a bit limited on time, so, and we're also don't have that much practice with editing, so it'd be a good place to start.
Yeah.
And you can still capture quite a bit. It could be like a 3-minute reel or something, and then it just has sort of the aesthetics from the travel, the things we've documented, the things we're journaling the process, and then in it you can inject some clips from the podcast, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we record
or just audio from the podcast, for example.
Yeah, you put on audio from the podcast over it, or just some clips, like you said, or maybe during a trip we've had sort of even mini podcasts or mini conversations at certain stops over dinner or whatever that we recorded and kind of used for that mini vlog, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think also, like, we've had conversations about how it doesn't feel so natural when we're talking to a camera for like a reel, but whenever we do this, it feels a lot more natural. And I feel like this is a way better way of doing it than like a vlog, for example, where like we walk around documenting our lives.
Yeah, no,
and like speaking to a camera.
No.
Like, because we know we don't want to do that, but we know we want to do this. So it just feels a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
More natural.
I think the talking to the camera thing, it's not necessary, but it could. I think there will be maybe a place for it.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually, but at least right now, this seems like the natural step that we feel comfortable doing, and that seems appropriate for where we're trying to go as well. I'm not sure in what context talking to the camera would make sense, but I guess honestly, like the journaling thing, if you're kind of talking to yourself and documenting the process.
Yeah, I guess it'd be like doing this, but on your own.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
Nah, it seems
be cool
a bit
to just
odd.
do it
Yeah,
together.
it's a bit odd right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's weird. You mentioned that Dalen guy. Completely butchered his name. I really wish it's something so similar to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dalen.
I could. Yeah.
I think his first name and surname both start with D. I can't remember. Anyways, it's insane how he blew up.
Yeah, seriously.
Because probably a couple months ago, maybe my housemate and friend Eob sent me his, I think it was his YouTube. He sent me a link to one of his YouTube videos, and he said, check this guy out. I think he had like 6,000 views or something, and he had probably like 6,000 subscribers or so. And he's like, yeah, this like, he really liked the style and so forth of his editing, because he has a signature style where he has cinematic footage of his vlogs. He'll be just traveling and all, but he films with a cinematic camera, and he's got someone kind of coming with him shooting along. So it makes it quite effortless for him to, I guess, vlog if he's got a cameraman with him. But it's just so aesthetic to watch alone. But also the way he uses this kind of bold text, and he's got these angles where he'll have a meeting and he'll just have a camera up in the corner filming the meeting from like a bird's eye view, and they use subtitles and so forth, and it's very easy and digestible to watch, but it's also just super aesthetic as well. And it's that nice kind of pair between a nice digestive vlog that highlights the I guess the authentic moments and the kind of the core components without being flashy. It's not like all in your face like Mr. Beast or something. It doesn't feel what's the word for that?
Forced.
No, clickbaity. It just feels quite authentic in that way, but also very entertaining to watch because it's quite slow. It's a slower pace. I think his videos are like 20-30 minute long, and yeah, just the coloring, like it's like color graded like a movie, and then also the bold text on top. It's like super cool.
Yeah,
like
he's also really on the POV,
like
with the bold text. Like that's so synonymous with his brand.
Yeah, that became kind of signature for his thumbnails. So cool. I mean, I think it's quite cool brand.
Yeah, it is. I like it as well.
Yeah. And clearly it paid off, because he's been doing those vlogs, and then he'll have a montage of a small sort of reel that he'll put on his main, and some of them are sort of lessons, and he puts some information, and kind of whatever lesson he journaled, he'll kind of use the audio from his vlog, put it over a reel, and then chop it up. And that seems to be doing quite well. Yeah,
it's a good system.
Yeah. But this is really fun. I remember we had a podcast a while ago, because our branding is a bit incomplete for the Monk and the Dog. We haven't, the first few videos, we didn't even have a brand. I think we just had the logo, and we were no intro, no outro. We just played the video, and no editing either, and not really any text, or there wasn't like an outline brand. And then we did one video when I remember I was filming. It was a podcast we did when I was in my office. In my office, and you mentioned this was the week that you chose the intro song, I think, and you chose an animation for the logo or something. Still super simple, but we worked a bit on the branding, and then we mentioned, okay, yeah, we've been upgrading the branding, so this video might have a different intro, and it's something we're actively working on. I think we should take that way, way, way further, and this should be the last podcast. That's not true, since I mean, it would be the last podcast if we were doing one a week, but this week we're trying to do one every day because we're together in person.
Yeah, but we'll be uploading one a week.
That's true. We'll be uploading one a week, but still. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, we'll be uploading one a week. So the next one, then, because we'll upload it next week, we'll have pretty
good branding,
put together branding.
Yeah.
Which will be fun because I think it's something we've been lacking, and it would also make this a bit more fun. Because it's nice to have a kind of finished and polished product and brand you feel good about. And I went down this rabbit hole just now, like literally an hour ago, on Pinterest. I made a mood board for sort of the monk and a dog branding.
Oh wow!
Which is I feel so cool. Like I felt so good about it. It was so aligned with what I think this could be. And there's some cool inspirations. I don't know which way we want to take it, but just for
that'd be fun to look at.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of color palettes, I think the logo could be polished up a little bit. I like the logo, but I think we can make it like the monk and the dog. We can have that sort of like Chinese traditional stroke, like the black. It's like a black stroke, you know.
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
ink. What do you call that? Traditional caricature. Caricature.
I'm not sure.
I don't want to say. I'm completely
Yeah, I don't.
You know exactly what
calligraphy?
I'm talking about. Calligraphy. Yeah, but
so.
this. Yeah, okay, calligraphy. Yeah, maybe I'm just completely butchering a word, but making it sort of that style and just having a nice color palette that kind of represents. I've got some cool ones. I'll show you. I wish I'm using my phone to film right now, and Ben's using his phone for the audio, so I can't really go through it right now on Pinterest.
It's alright. Yeah, we'll probably take a look at it and talk about it again in the next podcast, for example.
True. But I saved some things like I mentioned, color palette, sort of logo inspirations and kind of imagery, like aesthetics. So some things we could use, for example, for thumbnails, which would be quite cool, like a cool thumbnail aesthetic. Making the logo a bit nicer, maybe logo animation, like the way it would kind of bring up or come up on the screen in the intro. Sort of backgrounds, and I guess it's called background on YouTube when you've got your profile picture, and then you've got your, what is that called?
Yeah, background.
It's called board, I think, a headboard or something. Anyways, that would be quite. Yeah, I've got some quite cool ideas that I really want to share, but we can post some on the Monk and the Dog Instagram page as well.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, really cool ideas.
Honestly, as well, I think I wouldn't be able to say if this was our first, if we like basically scratched most of our previous podcasts, make this our first podcast.
Yeah, in what sense? Like elaborate on that.
So we just take all the podcasts we've done before down, and then we just go from now on with this new mindset of document the process. Because like the past ones, we, like you said, try to make it more informational. We've done this so it's more. It's about this topic. It's about fasting. Today it's about this. It's less just week 1, week 2 kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just scrap all those and just start from now, because they're not. I mean, like you said, we're trying to create a brand, and those don't really fit in with the brand of document the process. So you might as well just start from here. But because also we want to go live in September, so like it makes sense to start from now, make August basically like exactly what we want it to be, so we feel good about September as well.
I hear you. I think it should be as well.
Yeah.
But I think there's some that we can maybe repurpose.
Yeah.
And in an interesting way. As in, if we really want to be authentic and completely transparent, we can acknowledge this day as being the next day as being the first day with the branding, with the right branding.
Oh, because it would probably be this day, because we post this one Monday.
Oh, I see. Okay, right. So this one being the first one with the correct branding, chronologically. So this is we can acknowledge this being the first day where we have the new Monk and the Dog branding, and we're in line with what we want the podcast to be, the way we're kind of leading it as well, the way we're conducting it. But then, for example, the podcast we did with Jake about personal brand, I thought was quite good. Or at least maybe we can use a segment of it and repost it.
Yeah, but like for example, those I don't feel weird about, because it's still because at the time we're still working on a personal brand, and I think it all makes sense with what we're doing. So yeah, that's true. Because there's some that do make sense, and there's some that we can also repurpose. Because also we've done quite a lot where we didn't have too much time, so we didn't really give it an actual subject. We just kind of hopped on and talked about life like we want it to be, like we want it to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like what we're going forward with now. So if like, yeah, those is where we could repurpose.
Definitely. And if we want to be really transparent, what I'm saying is we can use those older podcasts or even some that we just had together that we thought were really good. And that the footage is good enough. Maybe the audio is good enough for us to post, because it doesn't have to be perfect for these. Like, we don't need perfect visuals or audio, but we do want to do well with what we have. For example, if we're using a good iPhone camera, it should be pretty crisp. And if we're using these mics, it should be good enough audio for everything we need. So we shouldn't have any problems with that. It shouldn't be blurry where we can't see each other's faces. I don't want to upload any of those, because that's just that's just low effort. There's no excuse for us not to have at least that level.
Yeah, we have the tools. We might as well use them.
We have the tools to do pretty well, and to have something that looks good enough for you to comfortably digest. But also, for example, if we did have that footage of a podcast where it's like super blurry and all that, we wouldn't really want to put on it would just kind of ruin the whole image, right?
Yeah.
But what I was saying was, if we did, for example, upload the podcast that we did with Jake, which was months ago, and it's after this kind of new beginning, we can say, we could label it as that.
Yeah.
We can just say this came before, but we're sort of using it, or we can kind of explain where it fits in and where it's why we've reused it and so forth. So we can be kind of transparent about that. So it's not like all of a sudden we have to kind of cover that up. We can just say, we shot this ages ago, but we've kind of have a rebrand. We want to keep this one. We've archived a lot of our videos because they weren't at the standard we wanted. Because how many podcasts do you think we've shot so far?
Probably like 50.
No, really? What, since like summer, I guess.
Yeah, because we have we've got like 30 uploaded. I feel like we've
got 30 uploaded.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we probably have shot about 50.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's that's pretty crazy. Wow. And I've got no problem with archiving most of them.
Oh, neither.
We shouldn't delete them. I don't think we should delete them. But you should.
No, because also it'd be cool to look back on. That's another reason why we're doing this, to look at how we've progressed with speech, and also since we're talking about documenting the process, it's like when we look back, it'll be cool to see, oh, this is where we were at this point. This is what our thoughts were, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if we just archive them, save them on a drive, whatever it be, you can archive them on YouTube, can't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. If we just do that also, I think that makes the most sense, and I feel good about that.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah. But what do you think about going live in September? Because I was concerned. That's maybe not the right word. I know we can make it good in August. I know we can make it to a standard we want it to be at, and we can. I mean, there's nothing to hide. That's kind of the main part.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just. Yeah, there is nothing to hide. If we do what we can, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need it to be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect.
No.
But if we're putting out work that we feel good about, and we are just kind of authentically documenting the process.
Yeah, I think for me as well, it's the more making it as authentic as possible. Because when we're trying to be somewhere we're not, then that's the point where it looks weird on camera, and I feel uncomfortable about posting that and seeing like other people see that.
But if we're just doing it this way, I mean, this is like...
I've got no issue with that. That's another reason why we said we want to just document the process, because it just feels way more authentic and natural. And yeah, that's better preparation for September than...
I mean, it's the only way.
Yeah.
There's nothing else we'd really want to be doing. And these are the conversations we have anyways. So it just makes a lot of sense. And we're doing it for us anyway. So that's also... Exactly. That's the other point, I feel.
Yeah, we're doing it for us. So it's like, why aren't we just documenting the process and talking about what we want to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I got kind of a second wind with that mood board I made, and I want to show you after because it's quite cool.
Yeah,
it's playing on the ideas with sort of the monk aesthetic and the dog aesthetic and the color palette and how it kind of matches both. It's there's a lot of possibilities, but also kind of having this Japanese inspired branding, because we do like that Japanese aesthetic for everything. I mean, I feel like it could be quite a cool way to present the personal brand, because it kind of ties things nicely and it's flexible as well. You can use it for a lot, and I think that aesthetic would represent what we want it to be. In a sense, you can it's flexible where you can show kind of orderly things,
mm-hmm.
and you can also show more like chaotic things.
Right.
And I can come down to edits in a vlog, like the color coding. I think we still use that Lato font because we love that font.
Yeah, and also it makes it synonymous with all the brands.
I like that. I like that a lot. Cool. Having some consistencies throughout the ecosystem is
mm-hmm.
kind of cool.
Same with like the design of the logo, the like sleek black and white.
Yeah,
it's synonymous with the foundation, the running club, and I like that as well. It's
It's funny we haven't really mentioned the running club at all. I don't think we have.
I think we might have in one of the old podcasts. I think we have.
Yeah, we could probably dedicate a whole
podcast to that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll, like we said, it's about documenting the process. So I think when you work on it, when we both work on it, we have discussions about it. We'll bring it up in the podcast and have natural conversations about it, which is
because then cool. that's a whole conversation about branding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm happy with what this can be.
Same.
It's kind of exactly what I want it to be right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the setup is quite good as well.
The setup is great. The noise in here is
this crazy. Setup. Yeah, right now we're shooting from my grandma's greenhouse in her garden, and the acoustics are. I hope they come out well because right now they sound pretty amazing.
It's pretty nutty.
Pretty nutty. But also the lighting is great. Perfect time of day to film. We should just do this every day. It's peaceful. It's a nice area.
Nice break as well.
Yeah. But in terms of equipment, I mean, we're doing this minimal.
Yeah.
But it's also just the right amount, I think. For traveling and stuff, you can easily do this.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need we've got just some small mics for decent audio, which I think is pretty essential. Because if we didn't and we were in a slightly louder location traveling, maybe we didn't have.
Yeah.
We don't want to sit right up in front of the camera just so you can hear us. I think this makes sense. We need basically two iPhones, one to record audio, one to film. Decent iPhone camera, tripod. That's it. I
think the only thing is when we go separate, how it's going to look. For example, with like microphones and stuff like that.
That's a good point. We should probably discuss that.
Yeah.
We can talk about that now, really, because this is our setup for when we're together. I just film right now. Right now, I'm filming with just my iPhone camera, HD 30.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're recording just with voice memo on is that what it's called? Voice memo on Apple iPhone. But when we're remote, we use a platform called Riverside. So it's essentially like FaceTime, but you can just record yourselves, and it kind of gives you the split screen where you have each face on each side, and that's how the podcast is recorded. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but I feel like it should be good as well.
Yeah, no, so far it's been pretty good. I think it's more just when we're in person, how it's different.
Well, how it changes.
Yeah, because like right now we're not using Riverside because it's just inconvenient to use because it's not two people in separate rooms. It's one person in the same room.
Yeah, but is this setup optimal, you think, if you're in person?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It does the job. As long as you have storage on your phone, I think it's pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking Riverside is quite good if you're remote. Because then if you have a guest who's also remote, you can add them onto the FaceTime, and then you can just send them a link. They hop on a call, and you just record the whole thing.
They don't need an account or anything. It's just really simple.
It gets uploaded to the cloud. Super easy, simple. I think it's quite an elegant solution, I guess. And then you can still get decent audio as long as they have a phone with an okay camera. They have a mic, it's fine. You have a mic, I've got a mic. But the thing is, if we're doing it remote, is there just us two? Is there a better way, you think? Or is Riverside just going to be the way?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's something we have to look into if there's other platforms. But I think with Riverside, we would probably still do. I think I'm just more worried about, for example, we only have like one set of mics that need to be together.
I'm debating. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm debating to get some from my place because I just moved apartments. Now I'll have a bit more room in my new place. And the guy I'm living with, we were talking about investing in a setup for a podcast, essentially. So we can record some ourselves, but also so we can host them at our place.
That's cool.
Which would be quite nice.
That'd be awesome.
And it'd be super possible because we're going to have quite a decent sized living room, and we can get that kind of classic setup where you've got a nice sofa, comfy sofa area, and you just get two of those podcast mics. We can get some middle range ones that aren't too expensive, but also not the cheap ones either, because we want them to kind of last long term. Probably the ones they had at CSC, actually. Those were quite good. I think they were perfect.
Yeah, those were really good, actually.
And then you can just kind of pop them next to the sofa, sit down there, have two mics. So then I could give you this set of mics, and then I would be using that one.
What do you think you would use for like your personal brand stuff? Because this is quite good for personal brand.
Oh, that's true. These are good for on the go. Honestly, I might invest in another pair of them.
Yeah, because also it doesn't attach to your phone.
No, it's true, and it would make sense for you to use these. I'm actually going to give these to you. I've just decided I'm going to give these to you when you leave. It makes sense. I mean, I can't use them really because they've got a lightning bolt plug-in, which is stupid because I just got my phone upgraded and now I've got USB-C, so I can't even use these mics. So you can take these. I'm thinking of buying a different shotgun mic, which is I think what this is. I think this is a shotgun mic.
You get the Rode ones?
Not the Rode ones, but the Rode ones are very good. I kind of regret not buying the Rode ones instead of these because I think these were a good beginning investment because I mean they were very cheap, and they do the job. But I think Rode would have been a better.
Yeah, I think Rode is like the A-list.
Yeah, Rode is A-list, but there's another one which I want even more.
Really?
Yeah, and it's I think even more affordable, but it's also top quality, which is going to be completely perfect. And that's DJI. They have shotgun mics. Yeah, because I'm in love with this brand. I'm in love with this brand now because I just bought a drone. I bought a drone from DJI since last time, and it was the DJI Mini 4, and I'm so obsessed with this thing. It's so cool. It's honestly the coolest piece of tech I've bought in so long. After maybe paired with the Whoop Band as well, but it's so cool. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's I've been having some fun with that thing, and it's also the results and what it can do is just completely insane.
Yeah, some cool footage.
Yeah, but the brand is quite cool. I didn't realize how much they build. Like I thought they were just drone focused, but they've got all kinds of things: small cameras, mics, and all of that. But they make some shotgun mics I saw, and they look quite elegant. I'm sure they're good quality, like crisp, amazing quality. And I would guess that they're cheaper than Rode, but I can look into it. But I'm thinking I'll buy maybe a pair of those before the podcast mics. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, the podcast mics can get pretty
expensive. Yeah. That's true. Because realistically, I think the DJI mics will be something like £200 or something.
Yeah,
so probably £100 each, and then the studio mics can be like 500. So I think I'm gonna wait on those for now. Because if I buy a shotgun mic, I can use that to record at home on the podcast like this.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, this setup is good enough. For if you got the shotgun mics, like we have no issue with that.
No, I can do it with content on the go, voiceovers, recording sounds, but also
ASMR.
Yeah, ASMR, but also for podcasts at home as well. If we have people over, just plug in a shotgun mic. It's quite nice and easy. It's flexible, and those ones should be good enough quality for a podcast like we're doing. We don't need state of the art sound quality. Because we're doing video as well. Yeah. And also, when would you want to start uploading on different platforms, for example? And which platforms?
Because currently we're just doing Instagram and YouTube.
The personal brand is on Instagram. We don't put any podcasts on Instagram.
No, not yet. But I think we would not do podcasts, but we'll do like reels.
With the vlogs.
Like reels of like snippets of this.
Oh yeah, clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking just full-blown podcast.
Right. I mean, we're on YouTube right now. What are you thinking about like Spotify and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's what I was sort of asking.
It's a good question. I think right now I'm okay with just doing YouTube. Honestly, I'd be happy doing YouTube like until the end of December and then have a reflection till then, like with our new goals.
Would it not make sense to just put us on other platforms, make it more accessible? Also for yourself, so you can listen back to the audio if it's on Spotify.
That's true, yeah. I feel like also doing on YouTube is also like, it shows off more of the vlog thing that we're talking about.
Say again? Doing on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it's visual based, but I mean, I don't mind I don't think it's that big of an extra step whenever we upload.
Yeah,
just to kind of upload the audio on Spotify. Because you can also put video on Spotify though. Yeah,
I know that. Yeah. Would you like all the platforms? Would you like Apple Podcasts as well?
I mean, I don't know how complicated that is.
Yeah, neither, honestly.
I feel like it's easier to do Spotify. It seems like a more user-friendly platform and more accessible. I feel like Apple might have a few more hurdles because people are usually less accessible on Apple. Yeah. But we could look into it.
I think, also they're more restrictive, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. But at least making it available on Spotify makes sense, I think. That seems quite logical.
Yeah.
But then that's it. Spotify and maybe Apple.
You think you do that at September?
No, I'm thinking
like all these.
Maybe these ones.
It's true, yeah.
Why not? I think mine as well.
Yeah, it's something I've had to look into. Yeah. I would have to look into. Sorry.
That would be a task for. And that's not too too much effort. I think if we're putting effort into the podcast, may as well make it available everywhere, right? Might as well.
On the go as well. People can download it.
Say where?
On the go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it makes sense. But yeah. No, I like the idea of the mics as well. I think it's kind of convenient because we need if we're going to be picking this up and kind of securing up the branding and making these the ones we're going to finally upload and all that.
Yeah.
And having more guests on and so forth, I think we should probably make sure the setup is pretty sturdy and resilient.
And also, like, if we also do on Spotify, it's more audio based, so we have to make sure the mics are good enough quality.
Exactly. The mics have to be good enough quality to just listen to on audio. Otherwise, we're just...
If we just do it on our phones, it wouldn't really work out because the audio wouldn't be as good enough for Spotify. But I think this...
Yeah. Do you have a good enough camera? Or are you going to have to...
I can use my back camera.
Your back camera? On your phone? Yeah. I thought it was sort of...
Yeah, but it's only in like certain settings.
Right. Okay. So you can more or less... Okay, it can work. Right. Yeah. Otherwise, you might have to get a phone upgrade soon, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that phone for a while. Oh, I remember I went from iPhone 6 straight to this.
Yeah. Which one's this? iPhone 12? 13?
Yeah, 12.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we can look into that. But I think it's probably hopefully okay right now. Yeah. What do you think about guests?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we discussed, that we want more guests by the end of September to also kind of make it more official. Because like having guests is something that we want long term.
How many, ideally, in an ideal world, how many guests would you want to have? Versus, like, what's the ratio you want of guests versus just us two?
That's a good question. I think ideally we'd do the podcast more often. I think.
What do you mean?
Like more than once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually.
Like an ideal world, for example, if we had a summer together, we'd be uploading more than once a week, I think, because it's like we said, it's a vlogging thing, and then like we do them quite often. Like when we're together, we try to do them daily. Yeah,
but would you want to do one more than once a week? Would you upload more than once a week? I mean,
I think so.
Oh, okay. All right. I enjoy them, but I feel like once a week is quite a nice spot. I don't know. If we're doing them consistently, I guess we'll have a lot going on, so we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy it, but I'm just thinking once a week seems...
Yeah, I think once a week is a sweet spot, but I would have no issue increasing the...
Yeah. Right. I guess, like, let's just say realistically...
Yeah, if we're doing once a week, the ratio... I think 1-to-1, honestly, would be maybe a bit less than 1-to-1.
Oh, that'd be quite cool. What you mean? So we have one podcast, us two. We have one with a guest, one us two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I do enjoy when it is like, because we talk about doing the vlog and stuff and the document process, and I feel like that makes more sense when it's just us two. I do like that idea as well, so I'd be happy to like run with that and do it mostly us two, because like I said, I enjoy that, but obviously it's cool to have guests on as well. But yeah, I think 1-to-1 would probably be the sweet spot in an ideal world. If I had to lean towards more one side, I'd probably lean a bit more towards us two, because it's easier to do, and yeah, the idea of documenting the process and doing vlogs and all that.
It'd be so fun though, preparing for guests and stuff.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like having, like, also it depends on the guest. Like having interesting guests would be like awesome, and like and the effort of getting good guests, and it would be fun contacting the right people and stuff like that.
And it's possible as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we've made a list of quite a few interesting people who we could have on a podcast, and that'd be quite fun. But then we'd have to start low to start practicing our interviewing skills and be able to conduct it well enough where it flows nicely and it feels natural and organic. But yeah, that 1-on-1, I agree, that'd be quite cool. But then also, if you have guests on, it sort of adds some preparation to the process.
It does,
because you need to plan that quite a bit ahead of time. And if we're trying to do 1-on-1 consistently, then we'd have to book these guests at least a month ahead.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice having, I don't know how you would do that. I guess contact them, have maybe a list of people you want on for the next 3 months.
Yeah, like a session a week where you just like have a list of people, you just contact all of them.
Yeah.
And maybe you do that. Honestly, if you did spend enough time a month, you could do that once a month.
Yeah. Yeah. And then booking them in, sort of find a day where that works for them, scheduling that, and and then preparing for each one as well. Yeah. How would you? I'm trying to think how we would add that to the workflow. Would that be something? I don't know. Would it be a one person job?
Yeah, I think it's something I would do.
Yeah, would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But how many guests do we want on before we go live with this in September, which is a month from now?
I think we said 5.
Yeah.
But then that means we'd have to upload more than once a week.
We wouldn't have to upload. Oh, right. I see. Because you want to crunch them in. You want to have them uploaded.
We wouldn't have to, but I think that's why we kind of wanted to have them have the. Originally when we said that we wanted the 5 before we go live in September, because then it's like when we do go live, people will see immediately. Oh, this is like
in an okay place.
It's like serious.
Yeah, it's not just right. We haven't just begun this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not just having 5 guests on recorded already. It's just having 5 guests like posted online. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that could be managed. We've got some people we can get on pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Some interesting people as well.
Yeah, that means we'll just have to do more than one. We'll probably have to do 2 a week for a bit. But we can schedule that. We've already got one for next week.
Yeah.
Who I mentioned. We've got. I mean, we'll have the one of Jake, I guess, uploaded. We could always do another one of him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, I'm happy with that one. The one with Jake being one of them, because I think that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. We can review that list and make it up. What's a guest that you would want to have on between now and Christmas? So I guess 4 or 5 months. That would be ambitious, but also realistic. I mean, ambitious, but also, not completely unrealistic.
Mm-hmm. Having like a Danish athlete would be really cool.
A Danish athlete?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how, because also there's a list there. Like it depends on how ambitious you want to be.
Yeah. But having a Danish athlete would be pretty damn cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty insane. I feel like it truly is just about knowing the right people. We don't even have to have the podcast be big or anything, or be at a certain level. As long it can have like very little traction, but I think as long as we're filming, I mean, if we're putting out things that are a decent quality that we feel good about, and that we're clearly putting effort into, and that's well conducted, so we've become decent interviewers, we've become decent converse, and then we kind of have a nice brand put together, then I think we could. It just comes to knowing the right people, and we can actually pull together some okay guests.
Do you think you would ever do the podcast in a different language?
In Danish, you mean?
Yeah. Like if we had a Danish athlete on and our Danish was good enough, or we just do the podcast in Danish with them? It'd be kind of rough because like our audience would be English speaking.
Yeah, I think English would have to. But yeah, I think we'd have to do
It'd be cool to do it in a different language, but I don't think it wouldn't make sense.
No. I think English, but it's tricky. Yeah, I think English, but we should be able to conduct it in Danish.
Yeah.
I think so. For example, if we spent the day with the guest and they were Danish, then the vlog might be in Danish with English subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then it's true if we're talking to them in Danish. But I think for the podcast, it makes sense in English.
Yeah, I think as well.
Yeah, no, that'd be super, super cool.
Yeah.
No, I like that answer. A Danish athlete. Yeah.
What do you think?
Who would I mean, there's a few people for sure. But I agree. I think for the first sort of big one between now and, I mean, there's some wild cards we could pull.
Yeah.
There's some pretty wild cards we could pull that aren't in Denmark, and we could, but I just wouldn't. I don't know if I'd feel ready, unless by then we do. But I think I'm also leaning towards the local, sort of a big guess, but Denmark based or Copenhagen based.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool as well.
And I'm also thinking of people we sort of have established small connections with that we can kind of pull in. Yeah, the one I'm thinking is that would be really cool. That I would love to have on is the CEO of Shaping New Tomorrow.
Oh, I knew you were just say that.
Yeah, that would be super cool because I had a brief chat with him on LinkedIn, and I love the brand as well. And he's a fairly young guy. I think he's early 30s, maybe late 20s. I'm not too sure, but just the marketing they do with that brand, that guy must have so many cool stories. I'm so curious to hear about how he built that, and his process, and also he's a local Copenhagen-based guy. We've already established a connection with him, and the marketing he does, the collaborations he does, all of the sponsors and so forth. Like their suits are sponsored by, Shape New Tomorrow is a Danish suit company that does. They also do some smart casual wear, but it's all fairly kind of sharp and professional. But it's known for being quite, how to say, I guess, resilient. Like they sponsor athletes and they sponsor. A lot of their marketing is essentially people doing runs in suits and kind of doing sports and doing rough activities in the suits, just to show how resilient and good quality it is. But yeah, I just really like their marketing, and I feel like he would be an interesting guy to have on. And also, it feels like he would be the kind of guy to say yes to something like that because of his age, but also he seems like a pretty outgoing person based on how he presents himself on social media and all that. He doesn't seem like a CEO who just kind of doesn't want to be. So, I'm sure he's probably done some podcasts already, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I reckon he has.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. But I texted him.
Just make it like it's like a podcast studio and we're all like wearing Shape New Tomorrow suits.
Of course, we don't have to be wearing suits for the podcast. Yeah. Oh, that'd be so good. But I think that's probably my top one before Christmas. If we could get him on before Christmas, I would be so happy. That would be so cool. And I think it's possible, honestly.
Yeah.
But I texted him on LinkedIn. I said, I can't remember. I said a few things before, but then I told him, my brother and I, we have a goal of making a whole wardrobe Shaping New Tomorrow by the end of 2024. That's like our goal, like to be able to essentially afford, even though Shaping New Tomorrow is not the most unaffordable suits ever, but still
just making your whole wardrobe is.
Yeah, it's kind of a commitment to a certain style, but it's also, I guess it's also like a financial goal because it's essentially throwing out all your old clothes and investing in pretty good quality stuff. So yeah, I told him that would be my goal, and I still plan on making that happen. And I feel like that would be a funny thing to bring up. But yeah, I told him that, and then he said, like, kind of awesome to hear, like this goal. I want to hear how it goes, kind of thing. So I think I'll just have to let him know how it goes by the end of the year, and then send him a picture of my wardrobe complete update, and then, by the way, I don't know, something. That's how I would bring up the conversation. But that would be super, super, super cool. And yeah, I think we'd have a lot to talk to him about. Yeah. Yeah, but it's exciting.
It is.
Yeah, this feels like we just kind of did a recap of what we want the podcast to be, sort of, and ran through what it currently is as well. And outlined all of our process around the podcast, which is probably a needed conversation, wasn't it?
Bit of our vision as well.
Yeah, a bit of the vision of the podcast. I think we didn't really cover much context of what happened between now and the last podcast. Like we did that whole trip to Greece, and we did all the.
Yeah, I think we can say that for another podcast.
Yeah, we can do it tomorrow. We're gonna do one a day, so.
Yeah, we've got time.
Awesome.
Should we call it a wrap?
Yeah, I think we should. Awesome.